come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman a come.
Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police a come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman a come.
Sanko chasey love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko chasey love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police a come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman a come.
Sanko squeezy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko squeezy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko leffy love up on the dam and the gala. Dam and the gala holla murder. Bip, bop, police a come and the gala holla murder. Police a come and the
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have no.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness. Aye, who tell the truth? Mark Brenscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Brenscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Brenscop, straight up from the root. Mark Brenscop, who tell the truth? Mark.
All right. Hey, guess what? I almost got caught off guard, right? Probably drinking a soda. Not a Red Bull. I'm done with Red Bull. It's the 12th day of the second month of the year, and I'm so proud of myself. Trust me. When I say that I'm done with something, I am done with something, and it goes for almost everything. But good evening to all of you. Share the link, please. I appreciate it. Let's say goodnight to Lemon. He's back on the job. Wayne Caesar was doing the behind-the-scene work, and thank you so much, Wayne Caesar. In fact, Wayne did an excellent show. Those of you who watched his show Saturday, he did a great job there, and over to you. Wayne Caesar is getting better and better and better and better. Thank you for not playing too much cricket, Mr. Caesar. A good job. Now, let's welcome not our guest, but welcome Lemon back. Lemon is a character, seriously. But we have with us this evening Norris Witter. Comrade Norris Witter, you know, trade unionists, they love to be addressed as comrades, like Lincoln Lewis, trade unionists. We have Norris Witter as well. He is here with us this evening. But before we get to Mr. Witter, I have lots of questions for him. He is the president, just elected as president of, let me see if you guys know Norris Witter. Come on, guys. I'd like to give you guys this little test here to see if you know who Norris Witter is. Conrad August, let's not go that route. Let me remind you guys about Conrad. Conrad, you want me to remind them about you? You want me to remind them about you and where you stay and all these sort of things? Conrad, let's have some civility here, mind you, or else we will ban you from this show, suspend you from this show for 1 week. And you could bribe with how much Hennessy you want to. We are not going to. Conrad August, do you want me to tell your story right now? Don't get me started. I will tell your story right now at this moment. Conrad August, guys, keep a lookout for Conrad, or else he will get the award. Norris Witter is a guy who has been there. He has been in the struggle. He has been fighting for people like you, Conrad August. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, Conrad, because I'll tell the people everything, every single thing, from the cathedral, all things I will tell them. Good evening to you, Conrad. That's all right. Take it easy, my friend. And good evening to all of you, every single one of you. Brenda Casey loves a story, but tell his story. And now, Conrad is a friend of mine. He's a good guy, but a little bit misguided sometimes politically. But he's a good guy. He means well. So here's what, before we get to our guest, Norris Witter, who spent some time with me and Lincoln Lewis in the Brigham lockups. When he comes on, I wish for him to talk his experience there. I wouldn't say anything as yet, but when he comes on, quickly before we go to that, guess what happened? All of a sudden, Priya Manik-Chan, yeah, there she goes. You could tell that this protest, this strike is getting to her. It's getting to you, Priya. Admit it, it's getting to you. They've been on for almost an hour. 70-something people were looking at them. People are tired. People want to hear the lies. And suddenly, the teachers and the schools are going to get textbooks. All of the requests fell on deaf ears. But suddenly now she seemed to be on this propaganda campaign talking about, and the schools, and they're giving the schools this, and they're giving the schools that. And oh my gosh, we so love the students. We so love the schools. She has never been this busy. Thanks to all of those teachers who are brave to be out there. The teachers and those representatives, all of the representatives of the union, Guyana Teachers Union. Kudos to you guys. This is a collective effort we can see. It's not a one-man show. It's what we call unity. And that is what we're seeing demonstrated there at the level of all of the teachers and at the Guyana Teachers Union. But Priya, oh Priya, I am but a... Anyways, so Priya also went around in schools. But she's not going to go to the school in Linden that has been incomplete for all those 2 years now. Incomplete. Christchurch Secondary, I think that was the school that was burnt down, right? All these schools are being burnt down under questionable circumstances, right? And every time a school or there's a fire in Georgetown, Priya Manik-Chan is always, for the most part, on the scene. And then right now she's busy, and look, this is the same. This is a Bamia school out in Linden. Suddenly they're rushing. This is rush work. Who is doing the inspection? Who is doing that? I don't know. I just don't know. But it is what it is. We know what they're up to. Let's get ready to bring on their Priya's again. Priya's all over the place. I got to bring my friend on, Norris Witter, veteran trade unionist. But before Mr. Witter say a word, he has been in the struggle for decades. He is a trade unionist. He's as he is a no nonsense individual, certainly, and I salute him for his dedication to workers in Guyana and by extension, Guyanese. So I want to, before he is allowed to say anything, let me show some respect to Norris Witter and all the other union folks who are watching this program, including our teachers in Guyana.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever, indeed. We asked Lemon to just have Mr. Witter return shortly. But before, we just want to let you know how much this thing is taking a toll on Priya Manik Chan, who happens to be the Minister of Education. The Minister of Education. It's really taking a toll on her. We have lots of questions for veteran trade unionist Norris Witter. Lots of questions for him tonight. But before that, I want you guys to take this clip to see what was happening today when, I don't know if it's the same Priya or whatever, she was actually called into a meeting. Listen carefully before we get to Mr. Norris Witter. Please listen carefully, guys. Listen carefully, all of you. Listen carefully.
Bhavani, Soumya, Akshay, Karthi, Arun, Vivek, Priya, Kirti, 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 Bhavani, Soumya, Akshay, Karthi, Arun, Vivek, Priya, Kirti.
Good evening again, guys. Sometimes you guys know what it was like in school for me, right? But anyways, good evening to all of you. Let's get ready to some questions here with veteran trade unionist, Mr. Norris Witter. Mr. Witter, good evening to you and welcome to Straight Up. Long time no see, sir.
Thank you very much. A very good evening to you too, Mark, and to our viewing public, wherever they may be. And let me take this opportunity also to thank you so much for those kind sentiments expressed by you.
Yep, you're welcome. And I have known you for decades, indeed, ever since I was a little kid. You were originally from the quarantine, Limlair or Norney side?
Well, I spent a lot of my teenage years in Limlear, but I was born at number 65.
Number 65 village on the quarantine. Good evening and good to see you. The last time I think we saw each other was, no, we saw each other, but that was when you spent about, together we spent, myself, you and Lincoln, we spent 3 nights in the filthy Brickdam lockups. That was horrible, huh? You slept for all those 3 nights. Talk about your experience there so that we get into the struggle.
Well, I prefer to see my experience there as one that has strengthened my resolve. It gave me an opportunity to do some self introspection, to look deeper into myself, to question the nature of the struggle that you were involved in, whether we were doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I was convinced that we were doing the right thing. And as a consequence, you would have known that as soon as we were released from prison, we went back to Ivleri to pick it again. And when a second attempt was made to arrest us, apparently somebody, the good sense prevailed, and they were told to take their hands off of us. I think that by now they came to recognize that it was very difficult, if not impossible, to break our spirit.
Certainly was difficult, impossible. They couldn't do it. Not even the 3 nights in the lockups would have done that. Those were horrible nights indeed.
It was.
And of course, I've experienced dozens of those, but that particular night, and sometimes Lincoln and I oftentimes remind people what it was like.
It was like hell on earth.
Yeah. Norris, let's talk about, because we want to touch on the teachers' strike. But before we get to that, your struggle over the years in terms of standing up and defending workers' rights and for them to get a respectable wage and so forth. What made you get into union or union work, unionism, so to speak? What propelled you?
Well, actually, the catalyst to it was early one morning on my way to work. That was in Blackbush, Pool. A gentleman who was mentally challenged was harassed, assaulted by a security guard. It annoyed me to the extent where I inquired of my other co-workers whether they had witnessed what had occurred. And they said yes. And my response was, since you have witnessed what have occurred, what do you intend to do? And they responded, well, what can we do? I said, we can withdraw our labor, right? Until a satisfactory answer is given to us as to why this gentleman who assaulted this mentally challenged person should not be penalized. And all the workers agreed that our labor should be withdrawn. At that moment in time, I was not aware that what we were embarking on was really a strike. Fortunately for us, and I must give credit to your father, Ulrich, right? He came to me in particular and he said, do you know what you have just done? I said, tell me. He said, you have just called a strike, right? He said, however, I worked in Linden. I was a shop steward for a number of years. I have some experience and I will guide you guys, right? I said, okay, appreciate it very much. And when the manager arrived, he saw us out of the gate and he inquired what was happening. By then, as there was the there was a few of us who were identified as the leader of the workforce. And obviously, I was I was identified as the leader of that small group. So, having been identified as a leader, it was my task to step up and explain to the manager what actually transpired. He then invited us into his office. That is the delegation, it was about 7 of us. And your dad, Ulrich, volunteered to join us. The matter was amicably resolved. The mentally challenged guy, he was compensated. And from there onwards, he was allowed to work in peace. So that is where it all started. After that, I said, look, what I need to do is to read and acquire knowledge as quickly as possible as it relates to this whole question of trade unionism and so on. And that is what I did. So here I am today.
Good to see you. And I recall you as a little boy visiting our house out there at Philippi Farm.
Quite true, quite true.
My dad, who was part of the Guyana Workers Union.
General Workers Union.
Yeah, General Workers.
But prior to that, he was a member of the Guyana Mine Workers Union in Linden. So he came to the General Workers Union with a wealth of experience and knowledge.
Yeah. It's good to see you, though. Decades later, I'm able now to look at you straight in the face, man to man, and address you as Norris. Back in those days, it was, I couldn't do that to you, though, when you visited our Norris Witter is our guest this evening. He's veteran trade unionist. We are here to talk about the teachers' strike. We want to get his view. He is also the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, just re-elected. He was once the president, and now he's back again with a wealth of experience. Tell us, before we get into the main crust of this interview, tell us about your most memorable experience as a union leader over the past 3+ decades you've been in this, your experience.
Well, to respond to your question is really a challenge. But it may sound strange to the viewing public. But my memorable experiences have to do with the awkward situations that I found myself in on more than one occasion. It is something that I'm reluctant to speak about because, they say that it is not good to blow your own trumpet, right? And each of these experiences has served to strengthen my resolve within the movement and to make me a more steadfast person in the struggle for a better quality of life for the working people generally. Now for the experiences. In 1981, arrested at Skeldon. I was not thrown into the lockups, but I was placed on the bench to be released a few hours after. In 1993, and in 1981, that was under the Forbes Burnham administration.
Before you get to 1993, what were you detained for at Skeldon in 1993?
Picketing. It was 1981 May Day. And the workers over the months were faced with not only harsh working conditions, but shabby treatment by the then regional manager. And we felt that May Day provided an opportunity for us to highlight the excesses of the regional manager. Fortunately, unfortunately, the guest speaker at that May Day parade was Dr. Reed. And someone felt that for the union to picket a parade where the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Reid, was present was unacceptable. And therefore, these little guys should be taught a lesson. So they inquired as to who the ringleader was. You know, they always look for the ringleader, right? The instigator. And they came to me. Well, a small guy that I was and still am. And these burly policemen, you know, lifted me up and took me away. The workers shortly after marched to the Springless police station and ensured that I was released. I was not charged. I was not placed in the lockups, as I said earlier. In 1993, however, under the Cherry Jagans administration, I was arrested, placed in the lockups at Mabura, transferred to the lockups in Mackenzie, and an attempt was made to charge me for arson. Those charges were not instituted due to the intervention of Brother Joseph Polidor, now deceased, former General Secretary of the Guyana Trade Union Congress. Later investigation revealed that it was a plot by the Jagan regime in conjunction with the management of the Demerara Timbers Limited to concoct information to the effect that, well, what they tried to do, in fact, was to create a situation that will give the impression that I was involved in an act of treason. And in that process, to eliminate me. Unfortunately for them, because I was not staying in one home during my stay in the location, you know, every night I would sleep at a different comrade home and so on, right? They were unable to locate me. And as a consequence, I survived that act to eliminate me. And then the other, well, I was not, as I said, charges were not preferred against me due to the intervention of
But you were in the lockups, though. How long you spent in the lockups in 1990?
I spent a night in Mabura, and I spent a night at the Mackenzie police station. Well, I need not tell you about our experience at Brigdam.
So from 1993 to our experience at Brigdam for 3 nights was the next time you were arrested and locked up.
That was the next time.
But I just want to point out to our listeners, and good evening to all of you. Norris Witte, veteran trade unionist, is with us tonight. We'll get straight into the teacher strike. But before we get to that, let's iron out a few things. Under the PNC government in 1981, Norris Witte said that he was arrested or he was detained at the Springland police station, and he was not charged. He was not in the lockups or anything. He was released for standing up for workers' rights. In 1993, he was arrested. He was dumped into the lockups from Mabura, then Mackenzie, and so forth, under the PPP government. Then in 2000 and what was it, 14 or 13, or maybe earlier, all of us, myself, you, and Lincoln, we were arrested for protesting in front of the police headquarters. At that time, it was the police commissioner, Henry
Green.
Your good friend, Henry Green.
Yes.
And we were ordered to be arrested, dumped into a van, and taken to Brigdam lockups for protesting. Good. I just showed you examples of how cruel, wicked, and vindictive the PPP regime is. Thanks for walking us through that process, Mr. Witte. As we move on now, you're also part of the Ethnic Relations Commission, of which you're a commissioner. Can you explain to the general public what exactly you guys do there? I know you guys just got a budget of over 200, I believe, and something $1 million. What exactly do you guys do there?
Basically, the mandate is to promote harmony and good relations between and among the various ethnic groups. That is the constitutional mandate. And in order to deliver the mandate, there are a number of functions. I think there are about 24 functions that the commission undertakes. Uh, investigation, mediation, and a number of other things. Education, right? Monitoring of the various media houses, print, electronic broadcasts, social media, to see if whether persons are in breach of whether law or they might have been involved in making statements that are religiously intolerant, or whether they are doing things that are discriminatory against a particular ethnic group, and a number of other things consistent with that.
Lots of folks, especially via this program, and even I would be honest with you, I am of the view that the Ethnic Relations Commission, the very thing that is set out to monitor, I'm not sure why they would want to monitor radio programs or TV programs when in fact they have the monitoring unit and they have the Guyana Broadcast Authority that has the authority to do these sort of things. But for the Ethnic Relations Commission to do that, when in fact, a lot of times people seem to think that they are very one-sided. Do you share that view now that you're part of the Ethnic Relations Commission?
Let me, before I answer the question directly, give some background to the ERC. The Ethnic Relations Commission was birthed out of the 1997 post-elections difficulties. I think it is instructive for one to remember that the person who was instrumental in making the Ethnic Relations Commission and the other commissions, rights commissions, possible was Eudes Manoit, right? The protests that followed the 1997 elections led to the formation of the Constitutional Reform Commission. And arising out of that commission, these commissions were born. Ethnic Relations, Right of the Child Commission, Women and Gender Equality Commission, Indigenous Peoples Commission, Human Rights Commission. However, the Human Rights Commission was never constituted. For whatever reason, it's difficult for me to even imagine. However, coming back to the question of the function of these commissions, there's a problem in Guyana. And that problem is that whenever one is politicized, that person tends no longer to be pragmatic, professional, or independent in their thinking. And it goes more so for activists or loyalists of the two major parties. There's no question about that. If you are an activist or loyalist of the PNC or the PPP, it is expected of you as the loyalist to faithfully carry out the dictates of those parties, even if by doing so, it conflicts with your own moral and political and your ethics, right? In other words, political considerations trumps every other thing. There's no question anymore of independent thought. There's no question of fairness. And having said that, let me say this very bluntly. I think one of the problem with the present Ethnic Relations Commission as currently constituted, right, is that too many of its members are persons who can be considered political fanatics, right? And therefore, whatever position, as a matter of fact, there are times when I would actually observe, right, that they will come to a meeting with preconceived positions, which is suggesting that some of these matters may have been discussed politically, right? Whether the party office, wherever it be, right? So when they attend these meetings, they would have already had a position on these matters. Now, I heard a number of persons saying, well, Victor, why do you stay there and compromise yourself?
Before you respond to that, almost everyone watching here and commenting, well, those who are commenting are of the view that the ERC is just way too biased, way too politicized, of course, in favor of the PPP, and targeting only one group of people. And so the question some folks have been asking, knowing your background, fighting for people's rights and so forth and workers' rights, why are you there? You're just about to answer that question.
Yes.
Go right ahead. Why?
It is important that in these institutions that we do not abandon them, right? Despite the fact that you may be outnumbered, right? You still have an opportunity to observe what is happening. You may attempt to influence a particular course, but the numbers are against you. But at least the records will be there for posterity. And more than that, having been inside, some may say the belly of the wheel, right? You will be in a position, like how I'm relating to you, or I'm relating to you now, right? As to what is really happening within the institution, right? I don't think we should abandon these institutions. We should fight, right?
How are you fighting being outnumbered and these decisions are probably hatched out in some political office before it gets to the board?
Well, one of the things that you insist on, right, is that when issues are discussed, that whatever contribution you make, that it is recorded verbatim. That's one of the things that you do, right? And secondly, you would have seen where I would have made statements to the effect that there were press releases made that hadn't the input of certain commissioners. There was a particular press release that was issued. I think it was one that fingered the opposition leader Norton on some matter, right? The only time I became aware of that press release is when I read it in the Tablet News, right? And I immediately made a post, right, inquiring as to who it was that caused such a release to be issued, and why wasn't it circulated, the draft at least, circulated among the commissioners for their input, right? And I went further to say in my comment, right, that at that particular time, there was a matter that was even more egregious than what the alleged Norton would have said. That is the alleged rape of the Amerindian child by Damelal. But the ERC said nothing about it. You understand? And then I questioned whether it was not a conflict of interest that the chairman of the ERC happens to be the husband of the DPP, right? And the record of the DPP, right, is very clear for all of us to see. Even the Caribbean Court of Justice has commented on the DPP's conduct on certain court matters. So that in itself casts or, compromises the work of the Ethnic Relations Commission.
Certainly it does. Lots of things compromises. Let me ask you this, as we have other matters to deal with, whether this was ever discussed at the ERC level.
More our border. And from someone, a low life like Katiyu.
Low life like Katiyus. ERC should be monitoring these things. Was it ever discussed?
Well, yes, it was raised by a commissioner, and I asked the question as to because the leader of the Alliance for Change wrote the chairman and copied the letter to a number of commissioners, including myself, right? So when the matter was raised, I had a copy of the letter in my possession, and I displayed it. And I said, what are we going to do about this? They said, okay, the normal procedure will follow. A meeting was held with a subcommittee, and the matter came up. We were told by the chief investigating officer that the parties were written to, that is, the vice president and the affected person, the aggrieved person, Katiyus. I requested, because you have to be careful with these guys. When they tell you they do something, do not take it for granted, right? They must provide the evidence. So I requested copies of the letters that they claim were sent to the vice president and Ms. Katiyus. I have not received copies of those letters to date. I challenge them that if those copies are not made available to me within a particular period of time, I am prepared to take legal action to find out why, as a commissioner, a request for those particulars to which I'm entitled to has not been made available to me. Let the courts decide and let the world know.
Let the court. I think the public members of the public have already decided, and they are of the view, and rightly so, that the current composition of the ERC, the Ethnic Relations Commission, save and except maybe one or two members, it's highly politically motivated and not working in the interest of the public, but they are just targeting political opponents of the PPP regime. Do you share that view now that you're in the belly of the beast, so to speak?
Well, judging from the matters that have been in the public domain, obviously you cannot blame anyone from arriving at that conclusion. Because so far what we have seen, most of the releases, the press releases by the ERC, they have either fingered opposition, well, African opposition leaders or Indian persons who are opposed to the party. It's out there in the public domain. The information is out there. No one has to be a rocket scientist, to see that. It's there.
You sitting there as a commissioner, voiceless, so to speak, other than just check the records and get firsthand information, how does it make you feel seeing an ethnic relations commission that is supposed to be fair, that is so politically biased and targeting members of a particular political party or those who may not support the installed PPP regime? How does that make you feel in a commission that is supposed to be there to protect citizens, but they're not?
Yeah, well, it's you feel more than disappointed. But then sometimes you ask yourself the question, right? If you are there and you are rigidly opposing these unfairness, wouldn't worse occur if you are not present? You know? So while I may not be able to influence the outcome of every situation, there are times when, through my intervention, I'm able to checkmate these guys. You understand? So, but what you see, sometimes there are matters that are so strong in principle. When the matter is argued and the principles are presented, it makes it very difficult for them not to concede. So you do get them conceding at times when the evidence is overwhelming, right? But then there are some other matters like political issues that, despite all the your best effort in presenting, cogent evidence, um, they will still go against you. Huh? They still will go against you. So you win some, but you lose the majority. And those most of those that are lost, it is not lost because there is evidence to support what is done, but it is the overwhelming invisible political hand that is involved in the process.
Some people could argue racist, and it sometimes takes religious bias as well. And even under the circumstances, it appears that all members of the commission are being painted with the same brush. Some people are asking, I know that were I to sit in such a commission, I wouldn't waste my time. I'll walk out, I'll resign, I'll let the public know that this is a waste of time. But we're different. I'm not saying that that is what you should do.
But
At some point in time,
that time may very well come.
That time may very well come. Thanks for responding. That time may very well come. The ERC is a waste of time. There are people who are addressing people of the opposition, calling them hungry belly dogs and all manner of things. And those persons are not being targeted at all. At all. But at another time, Norris Witter, veteran trade unionist, and another time, we will talk more about that. And it's unfair that such a constitutional body is being unconstitutional, and they're targeting members of the public. They're targeting people because of their political views. In my opinion, and I share the opinion of majority of our listeners, that the Ethnic Relations Commission is a waste of time, waste of taxpayers' money, and they're just persecuting citizens who share a different political view other than the PDP regime. Yeah. Good. We give Mr. Norris Witter some time to turn his phone off.
Yes, go ahead. Thanks. Sorry about that.
Probably is the chairman of the Ethnic Relations Commission calling you to say he heard what you just said there. Who knows?
It's your friend, man. It's Ulrich. It's Lincoln.
All right. Good to see you also still have that Motorola phone. Norris, let's get straight into union work. How important is a union for workers?
It's very important. In the absence of a union, the employer runs rampage over the employees. Pay them what they like, treat them how they like, right? And do what they like with them. Unions do a number of things: collective bargaining, representation, whether it's individual grievances and so on. And those grievances falls into a number of different categories. We organize the workers, and when we talk about organizing, we're talking about educating, inspiring, and fostering a sense of unity among the workers. We struggle to ensure that they are paid properly, decently, and the conditions under which they work are favorable, among other things. But generally, that is it. Now, it is because of the exploitation of workers that gave rise to the formation of unions. And the exploitation I'm talking about took on another form. Up to this current point in time, workers are still being exploited in different ways. And we are seeing it today, right? It is that exploitation, that disrespect and disregard that has led to where we are, and is the reason for us having this discourse this evening.
Absolutely. Takes us into the question now. The main topic for the night is the teachers' strike. Let me say good evening to all who have just joined us as well. Norris Witter, veteran trade unionist. He's also the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress. He's also a commissioner in the Ailing Ethnic Relations Commission, the Bias Ethnic Relations Commission. Let's get your take on this strike. You were there on the picket line last Thursday or Friday. Describe how important the teachers' strike called upon by the Guyana Teachers Union. How important is this strike?
This strike, even to say that, first of all, I want to commend the striking teachers for their resoluteness and the level of unity that they have demonstrated so far. And I know that they will continue to demonstrate that level of unity, that determination, and that commitment in pursuit of their just objective. Now, a lot of things has been said in relation to the strike, but I would like to caution that we should avoid allowing the antics, political and otherwise, particularly by the state operatives, whether be it the Manichans or the Hamiltons or the Jagdews or the president, from diverting our attention. The issue is the reluctance of the employer, and in this case, the Ministry of Education, to engage the Guyana Teachers Union in collective bargaining. That is the issue. It's not 5% or 3% or 6%. The issue has to do with a number of instruments to which previous governments and this administration is obligated to respect. As a matter of fact, the Guyana government is a signatory to most of those, if not all those instruments. But more than that, collective bargaining is guaranteed under our constitution, is guaranteed under the termination, the Trade Union Recognition and Certification Act 23.1, under the sideline duty to treat. And what it says is that once there exists a certificate of recognition between an employer and a trade union, the parties must meet and in good faith commence the collective bargaining process with a view of arriving at an agreement. There are a number of international labor organization conventions to which the Guyana government has ratified. And those conventions speak to the question of the right to bargain collectively. Convention 151/98, and we can go on and on. There is a document that is titled the CARICOM Charter of Civil Society. That document also imposes an obligation of governments within the Caribbean to respect the collective bargaining process. Then you have the Treaty of Chaguaramas and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. And you also have recognition agreements between individual unions and employers, like the GTU and the Ministry of Education. What this government has been doing over the past 20 odd years is violating all those instruments that I've just referred to by not engaging not only the Guyana Teachers Union, but a number of other unions that have recognition rights or bargaining units within the public sector or the semi-autonomous or parastatal institutions, GRE and a number of other institutions. Now, what is ironical is that while the government has been violating these instruments with impunity on the one hand, on the other hand, you hear them saying, President Ali, Vice President Jagdew, and many others, that we cannot renegotiate the PSA with ExxonMobil because of what they say, the sanctity of contract. Yeah. Well, if that contract has sanctity, with the law, Guyana law hasn't sanctity. There's no sanctity where the Constitution is concerned. What about the ILO conventions? What about all these charters and treaties? There is no sanctity where they're concerned. Now, what that does, it raises the question of the hypocrisy of these pretenders to office. And even to say that they are hypocrites, I think it's an understatement. it's an understatement, right?
Let us go to the part where they are accusing this strike from the Guyana Teachers Union, all of the teachers, a genuine and legitimate strike. Briefly, why do you suppose the hypocrisy here by the installed PPP regime by saying that this strike is politically motivated when there's no evidence of such?
Well, I've been around long enough to understand the nature of the beast, right? There is nothing new in this accusation. And let me say this. They know that the strike is not political. They are aware of it. Right? They know that the strike is legitimate. Right? That narrative is a narrative that is intended to sow the seed of discord among the strikers. That narrative is targeting, you see, while they say political, right? They know what political means in Guyana. Political means race. They're race baiting. That's what they're doing. Race baiting. Dog whistle. They are saying to the Indian brothers and sisters who are part of the protest action that, hey, you understand? These guys, you remember the story? That if these people win, people will kick down your door and all them kind of thing. That's the kind of race beating, right? But more than that, when they label the strike as political, they are creating the conditions to take political action against the union. And what kind of political actions are we talking about? And I made this point over 2 weeks ago. And I've seen the political actions unfolding, right? One is that they will throw the state apparatus at you. You see the question about stopping the union dues and get the General Chamber coming out with a statement to the effect that annual returns are not being submitted and a number of other things. So the state apparatus is already at work. Then you have the political machinery that will be thrown at you. The vilification of the union and its executive. The character assassination. And I want to say this. For those of us who have a fairly good understanding of the nature of this creature that we are dealing with, we have to be ever vigilant. We have to be ever vigilant. Right? They are devious and they can be dangerous. It's a pack of cowards, you know. They're a pack of cowards. You understand? But despite their deviousness and their capacity to be dangerous, you hear what the song said? We can crush their earthly power. Unity, solidarity. Unity, solidarity. I said to the teachers earlier today that once the teachers remain united, this regime will never ever be able to defeat them. And The challenge that the teachers are facing today in respect to the state not engaging them in collective bargaining despite numerous requests is an issue that is faced by many other unions within the public sector. And I want to say this to the trade union fraternity and to the nation at large, every citizen, that whenever the state and its operatives violates the Constitution, laws, and treaties, it affects not only the institutions that are directly involved, but the entire nation. Entire nation. You know, the level of lawlessness we see in this society is as a direct result of the level of lawlessness that exists in the upper echelon of the state apparatus. Executive lawlessness. The lawlessness at the top permeates to the bottom. We cannot leave the future of this country to the devices of these politicians, some of these politicians. As somebody told me earlier, having listened to VP Jagdew and President Ali, you know, recently he made a statement about how much he has done for teachers and what he intends to do, give you a chance till 2027 and so on, right? So the guy was saying to me that, you know, these chaps are disasters. And I had to say to them that, no, they have passed the stage of being disasters. They are catastrophic. Yeah, so if we do not rein these guys in, right, they have the capacity, the potential of destroying this D-land of ours. So the people of Guyana, and I think the teachers are pointing us in a direction. And we need to listen, we need to take heed, and we need to take action. Right.
Thank you. President of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, Norris Witter, veteran trade unionist. He's also a commissioner of the Ailing Ethnic Relations Commission, with some of the correct and truthful statement here tonight. For example, the dog whistle. When the PPP guys, Priya and Irfan and Jagdev and all those people say that the teachers' strike is politically motivated, they very well be saying that it's pointing in the direction of race. Let us hope that for the first time, let us hope not, that for the first time a sitting commissioner of the Ethnic Relations Commission will have to be dragged before the Ethnic Relations Commission for statements made on Pen Shop Radio. Let us hope not. But even if you are dragged before the Ethnic Relations Commission, you can handle yourself pretty well.
I've been in worse situations.
Of course, worse indeed. You are there on the ground with the teachers. I saw you there. What were some of the sentiments expressed by the teachers? And let's get that first from you.
Let me say this. I think that even the state actors are surprised at this brave and courageous step that the teachers have taken. Across race, across politics. Go look around. Right? The teachers in the protest line, multi-ethnic, right? Multi-religious, different political persuasion. Right? Now, what has happened is that with taking this action, they have virtually destroyed this myth that teachers are docile. You know, you will not. You could do whatever you want with them. I get a song like that, right? Do what you want with me, right? And they will not respond. You know. So, with the teachers responding as they did, it create among Ali and his boys a panic situation. They panic. And I tell you what, my observation is that being among the teachers since the strike started is that they have been disrespected so long. They have been treated unfair so long. They have been treated so with a high level of indignity for so long that it has reached a point of intolerance. No longer could they bear, the indignity, the unfairness, right? The exploitation. Look, when you listen to those teachers, and when you look into the faces of these teachers, right, you are seeing a group of persons who are so disgusted with the situation that they are saying, look, we have reached the point where we prefer to die on our feet rather than to live on our knees. That is the stage to which they were brought. They were literally brought, figuratively brought on their knees. So they've decided, look here, we are not going to die on our knees. Right? We are going to stand erect and to say to this regime that is exploiting us, that here is where we stand. Right? Here is where we stand. And we are prepared. It was, I think, Sir Douglas, Frederick Douglass, who said, there can be no progress, or there will be no progress without struggle. And I think the teachers have come around to understand that. Right? That if there is to be any progress in terms of their future, in terms of the quality of life, in terms of the quality of work, they will have to struggle to achieve it. They have come to that resolve. And there is nothing, I believe, that the regime can do at this point in time or in the future to break the resolve of those teachers. But they need the support of all trade unionists of SALT, and they need the support of all right-thinking, decent citizens, whether they are in Guyana or out of Guyana.
17 minutes after 10 o'clock in beautiful Guyana. Time is different wherever the part of the world you guys are. Norris, you just said it. You preempted my next question as it pertains to the involvement of the other unions, legitimate unions, unions that are not leaning towards, let's say, or afraid of the PPP. Thus far, you being the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, Lincoln Lewis, the general secretary of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, you guys are very vocal. You guys are out there. The Guyana Teachers Union, their members, their president, and other executives are out there, but we are not seeing the leaders of the other unions. What can you do, sir? For example, to call them out, maybe the GPSU, Mr. Patrick Yard, and others. What's happening, sir?
Without as they say, telegraphing our shots, right? We are speaking with the leadership of a number of unions at this point. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we are meeting with some of them, right? And we are going to arising out of that meeting, hopefully arrive at a strategy in terms of how we are going to advance the struggle incrementally. We are getting positive response from all the unions, whether they are affiliate of the TUC or they are not, right, on this matter.
Let me ask you this, Norris, as it pertains to the hypocrisy of the PPP, the installed PPP regime, their hypocrisy. They're saying that this GTU strike is politically motivated, it's illegal, all manner of things. We know that is not true at all. There's no evidence. But why don't we hear them saying the same thing about the Guyana Agriculture and General Workers Union, which the president of the GAU sits in parliament as a member of parliament for the PPP? Why not the same treatment with GAU?
Because GAU is the industrial arm of the PPP. Whenever the PPP is out of office, most of the PPP hierarchy are employed by GAU, right? Now, many persons may not know. Sipon Narain succeeded Komal Chan as member of parliament of the PPP. Both Sipon Narain and Komal Chan are members of the central executive of the PPP. I normally refer to the PPP and GAU as, they have that monster with the two heads. There's a monster with two heads, right?
Yeah.
Well, that is the PPP and thing. But the point I want to make is this: is that while Komal and Sipol sat as member of parliament on behalf of the PPP, they were involved in amending a number of legislations that were pro-workers, right? So what in fact they would have done, rather than promoting the interests of labor through legislation in parliament, they have been involved in taking away rights that were already legislated, right, in parliament. The workers of this country needs to know that. And more than that, the Trade Union Recognition and Certification Board at the moment is constituted by persons who are loyal to the PPP. And what they have been doing is manipulating the records of unions that are perceived to be unfriendly or anti-government, to deny those unions recognition. So they are in fact rather than promoting unions or promoting trade unionism, they are undermining the movement, right? And what has to be done is that all these anti-worker, anti-union activities from these, I was about to say gentlemen, but leave it at that, right? Needs to be exposed. I don't think we have been doing a good job in exposing these anti-union action by these trade union operatives who are aligned to the PB, to the public. And that has to be done, right? That has to be done. So the workers of Guyana, unionized, unionized and unionized, must know the character of these guys.
Of course, they've got to know the characters of these guys. Some of them, we wouldn't even be able to mention it on this show. But Norris, Air Finale is saying to the teachers, be patient, be patient, be patient. Meanwhile, just not so long ago, all of the ministers got over $300,000 increase on their salaries. But they're saying to teachers, y'all be patient. Why should the people trust these guys who, during the course of the elections, made all these promises, free tuition at university level? Nothing came into fruition. 50,000 jobs, and nothing thus far. But yet they're saying to teachers, be patient.
Yes. While he's saying to the teachers, be patient, a few weeks before, he said to Gau, we got to meet with y'all to see how best we can augment the rates of pay, the wages of the sugar workers. So the sugar workers' difficulties must be addressed, but the teachers' difficulties must be postponed. And when he talk about patience here, we said, give you up to 2027. Well, let's say that while the grass is growing, the horse is starving. Well, in this case, while the grass is growing, the horse is dead. Level of hypocrisy again, right? Level of hypocrisy. Then the other thing is that why did he cite 2027? The next election is due no later than 2025. 2025. So what are you saying to the teachers? That you have to put me back in power for me to address your concerns? Well, the teachers aren't that stupid. They aren't that stupid, right?
He probably made, quote unquote, a cervical mistake there. Cervical mistake. He also said that in 2025 they will increase old age pensioners or to what, by $200. Another political ploy, political gimmickry, just basically thinking that people, Guyanese people are pakus. That's what they think. People are not buying that. They made all those promises during elections time. They cannot fulfill those promises. Now they're adding more promises upon promises upon promises. But let me ask you this. They are intimidating teachers. Teachers are standing up and they're resisting it. How proud are you of all the teachers who are out on strike?
Very, very proud to see the determination, the resolve, the stick-to-itiveness. I was in Linden this morning, right? I stood in the picket line with them. I chatted with them. And what you observe is a people who know what they're about, who know what they need, and confident that together they can achieve their just demand. There's that level of confidence. The energy was tremendous. Tremendous. You understand? It was it was inspirational. And to the point where I feel so energized. So at 80, I'm feeling like 40.
No, are you saying that?
So I'm not 80 in the sense of being 80. Well, you know what I mean, right?
You got me there for a moment.
Yes, right. Yeah, and what you see, the energy and the purposefulness and the zest, it is really inspiring, and anyone who witnesses and experience, right, what the teachers are doing, I think it would be very difficult for any right-thinking, fair, human who would not support them. They need our support. We must support them. Their struggle is just. Their struggle is a righteous one. And for any one of us who believe in fairness and justice, we do not have a choice other than to support them.
Norris, I got two final questions for you. But I want to say hi to all of our teachers who are prepared again to go out there tomorrow in their numbers, and parents and students. I heard the schools were shut down all across the country for the most part, mind you, for the most part. We'll be back in 30 seconds with my final two questions for veteran trade unionist. He's also the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress. He is out there with the teachers, along with his general secretary and other members of the GTUC. We need to see other union leaders and members out there as well to support the Guyana Teachers Union.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
For the unions make us strong indeed. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Norris. Priya Manikchan and the PVP. It's like every time they see a representative of the opposition out there standing in solidarity with the union, with the teachers, they're making it out. And they're failing in this effort, mind you, but they're using that propaganda to see, look who is out there. A member of the PNC is out there. Meanwhile, this is the same Priya Manikchan who was encouraging teachers to strike. And other members of the PPP were encouraging teachers to strike. They were there with the teachers and so forth. Again, another piece of evidence of hypocrisy, huh? Norris?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is. But let me say this: the teachers' union will have a clear policy, and they will have their objectives. Right? Nothing is wrong for any other organization or individual who are sympathetic to the cause of the teachers to join in solidarity. Nothing is wrong with that. Right? If politicians join in solidarity with the teachers. That does not make the strike political. If religious people, if the Muslim join with the teachers, it makes the teachers Muslim. If the Christians join, make them Christian. If the atheists join with lend the teachers solidarity, does it make the teachers atheists? Nonsense. What is clear to my mind is that the PVP is in panic mode, right? And sometimes when you listen to the narrative of the PVP activists, whether it be them ministers like Hamilton and Priya Manichan, and the other joker conducting the interview, right? What they have been saying to the public, no, for me, right? I was embarrassed. What the Minister of Labor was saying and what Priya Manichan, a lawyer and the Minister of Education, the rubbish they've been talking, right, is an embarrassment to this nation. A whole set of nonsense. No, look, no sense at all of an understanding of the subject matter. They made themselves spectacle to the world. That's what they did. Two idiots.
ERC. "34 minutes after 10 o'clock, Mr. Witter, it's always a pleasure to be with you. We seem to be in the same studio tonight, the same Brickdam lockups all over, protesting together. It's always a pleasure. I've learned a lot from you guys as well. And I take this time out again to salute you for your bravery, salute you for your commitment when it comes to workers' rights and equality all across the country. Thank you for your service, sir. Before we go, what would be your advice to all teachers as they prepare to head out there tomorrow, the parents, students, and others, maybe including our good friend, the president of the Guyana Public Service Union, Mr. Patrick Yard? What's your message for teachers, please?
My message is simply stay the course. You are on the right side of history. You shall overcome. We shall be meeting very soon for the second time with other affiliates and non-affiliates, including the president of the GPSU, Patrick Yard. And I am hopeful that arising out of those discussions, we will arrive at a point where the next course of action will evolve.
Well said. Again, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. And always feel free to be here on Ben Shop Radio, 107.1 FM. No stranger, you're welcome anytime. Even if you wake up tomorrow morning, not if, we know you'll wake up, but the point is, when you wake up tomorrow morning, and if you're in a position to say that that's it, the ERC is a waste of time, you want to make the announcement, call me, and you have this entire platform, this forum, to hold your press conference and make your announcement concerning your position there at the ERC.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. And for the viewing public, good night, good evening, wherever you may be. Thanks for watching.
And thanks again for your service, sir. Appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Norris Witter there for you guys. A gentleman, indeed, a soldier in the struggle, a veteran at what he does. He is the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress. He has been out there with the teachers alongside the general secretary of the Guyana Trades Union Congress as well. They have joined in solidarity with the teachers, with the Guyana Teachers Union. We need to see more unions and union leaders out there in their numbers. We'll be back tomorrow, right here on 107.1 FM. But let us do, when you go into a classroom, you got to check to make sure all the students are in the classroom. Let us just do a check to make sure that everyone from Rob Street, everyone that, we do the roll call, Lemon, that these folks are accounted for.
Arun, Vivek, Priya, Kirti, Bhavani, Soumya, Akshay, Karthi, Arun, Vivek, Priya, Kirti, Bhavani, Soumya, Akshay, Karthi, Arun, Vivek, Priya, Kirti, Bhavani, Soumya, Akshay.
Yeah, my name is Jasmiti Kaldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
So this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Makes us strong. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
With another one, straight up, Black Messiah. Aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Stop, radio station is the truth. Mark Stop, straight up from the root. Mark Stop, who tell the truth? Mark Stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Stop, radio station is the truth. Mark Stop, straight up from the root. Mark Stop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up and Scott stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can need it, don't contact, the crip can walk. Who tell the truth? Mark Stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Stop, radio station is the truth. Mark Stop, straight up from the root.